So my name is Michelle. My journey to being in the film business, I started about 30 years ago. I'm in the music business as well, and that's where I started as a music technician. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time and got on a film set. And I got on as a sound trainee, and I hated it because I already did that for a living, and it was very boring. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But because of where I lived and somebody that I knew, I ended up getting another call being in the AD department. And on the film that I did as a sound trainee, I met some people, I networked, people got to know me a little bit. So I got to do some smaller things before I got on a show. You know, I worked on commercials, I was a driver, I was a PA, I ran people's food, I got them, whatever they needed, got yelled at a lot, things like that. But my very first show, I got on a big show as training assistant director. And it was probably, I have to say, this is like 30 years ago, the most horrific, intimidating, terrifying experience I've ever had. As a woman, I think maybe I was a handful of 4 on the film set at that time. Women in top roles in like the production coordinator or a DOP or a director, that did not exist. There was none of that. Most of the women were in the pretty department, which they still call today, which is hair, makeup, wardrobe. So it was a struggle. There was no guide for how the set worked. There was no guide for what you do. There's no classes, no courses. There certainly was not any guidance from any union rep or any male-dominated person on the set to deal with bullying, harassment, sexual harassment, any kind of those things. So as much as I would like to say that we have fixed all of those things in mainstream film and television, we have not. I'm not going to lie to you. It still exists, but there's more of us. There's more women, there's more Indigenous, there's more LGBTQ community, people of color community. We're starting to make inroads. We're certainly still behind, as that 67% says. But now there are directors who are women. There are director of photographies who are women. And there are some, Oscar-winning directors. So, we're making inroads. It's still a tough battle. I'm not going to say that it's easy still. It's easier now because it's not. Bullying still exists. All of those things still exist. They're just able to be dealt with more than they were 30 years ago, where you just put your head down, kept your mouth shut, and just hoped to stay under the radar, and nobody would come at you. So that's where I started. Again, I was lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. Once I got there, I watched, I learned, I kept my head down. I took a lot of heat, a lot of harassment, a lot of bullying. There were times when I would leave and just bawl and just cry and break down in my car because as a woman on a film set back then, it was sometimes unbearable, the treatment that you had. So we've come a long way. I'd like to think that we are still going even farther. We'll even get better. But now we have the facility and the people like myself and others who teach bullying courses, who teach harassment courses, who do the motion picture industry program with Actsafe to kind of give you some ideas of what to expect and what's going to happen once you want to go there, if you even want to do mainstream film and television. Where am I? See, I wander off. So again, back then, the women were in hair, makeup, wardrobe, maybe set deck, maybe in the production office, maybe an accountant, but it was a full-on male-dominated field. So we're coming a long way. For me back then, I didn't really have a lot of female mentors. I was very lucky on my first big show where it was like extremely overwhelming, and I was terrified every day. I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen today? I had a couple of men who were fantastic, and they took me under their wing and they kind of guided me, and I've spent my career with them. So, and we all worked our way up the ladder. So I started off as a PA, training assistant director, and I worked my way up the ladder to second AD, first AD, producer, mentor. I love to now give back because I'm getting older. 18 hours and 10 months away from my family is not something that appeals to me anymore as I'm getting closer to retirement. So to be able to give back is fantastic. Some of the difficulties of working in this business or starting off in this business, whether you're a filmmaker, a documentary maker, a journalist, any of those genres, is to really know what you're good at. So for example, there's you that are directors, your producers, your grant writers, your camera operators, you're doing all of these things. I find, and again, I can only speak for myself, and because most of my experience has been in mainstream film and TV and in the music business, is find what you're good at, find what you're passionate at. So one of the reasons I ended up in the AD department and stayed there is because in my life, I'm a little OCD. I love paying attention, like details, not so much as I get older, those are starting to not be so important, but I'm very detail orientated. I love logistics. So I can, if you ask me to edit something, I'll look at you and go, no, I don't know. But if you ask me to organize 50,000 things in a day and make it work, I can do that. So as you continue on and people move on, or as you continue on and you find, I just want to direct, then just direct. Find people around you to help you so that that's all you can do. That's what you can focus on. So that's why I was, excelled in the assistant director department, because I was logistically fit. That's what I love to do. So I kind of fell into the right departments at the right time and have worked my way up. I'm just going to kind of go through it because I know I can wander off a little bit and I can't see, so I should probably put my glasses on. That would probably be good, but I can't see because I don't need them when they're far away. So on a main film set, on any set actually, whether you're doing a documentary with government officials or, people that you're interviewing, whether it's your family, attitude is everything. Be polite, be respectful. Let them know when you're going to take an hour to light up the set. Let them know you're going to move some furniture around. Especially on smaller projects when you're kind of doing everything. If you can just be really respectful. People really respect you when you're being respectful and you're showing integrity. My other really big thing, and I know it's going to come down there a little bit, but anything that you do, whether you're a mentor or you're on another project with other people, watch what they do. Pay attention. Listen. You might learn something, or you might learn something that you'll never do. Someone could be very rude, or they don't engage with their person that they're interviewing. So not only watch for things that people do well, but watch for things that people don't do well, so that you can find ways not to do that. One of the biggest things is being with people and interviewing people or talking to people or trying to get them to tell you a story is when you don't give them the time to tell you that story. You kind of brush it off because either you're in a hurry or it's not the answer you're looking for. So be very mindful of things like that. Give people the space, the time to be able to share. As you said with your parent, they were a little uncomfortable. But as a viewer watching it, I would say that you as the director and the person who was interviewing them, I would have never known that they were uncomfortable because they showed it. They talked about it. They knew what they were talking about. It was something almost so passionate to them that that all fell away. You would have never have noticed that. So really good job on that. And that's what you're kind of going for. Learn, listen. Again, if you're trying to make your way into mainstream film, there are a million departments. Every department does something different. Not one department does the same thing. Everybody has to coexist together. So you have to work together. You have to learn to deal with a lot of different types of people. You have to learn to deal with a lot of very big egos, sometimes very humble people that want to work together, others that just want to run off screaming because they're not getting what they want. there's not enough money, there's not enough time, la 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 la. It goes on and on. Always be positive. In anything that you do, stay positive. Try to stay calm. Find ways to come up with options, solutions. Okay, well, how can we do this? Whether you're doing your own documentary and you have a mentor, or you have somebody helping you and there's a snag. Okay, you know what? Just give us like a couple minutes. Okay, how can we fix this? What's the shot? The shot's not working. Can we move this way? Can I move the camera? Just don't panic. Just take a breath. Find ways to just move around the space or move around the people, and pretend like you know what you're doing. So, just, and watch people. Details. Pay attention to details. It doesn't matter what genre you're shooting, what you're doing. If you don't pay attention to the details, something's going to slip through the cracks. So suddenly you've done your interviews, you have gone to the editing suite, and you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot that one piece I needed because you were trying to move too fast, or you didn't have it written down, or you didn't prepare properly. Prep. Doesn't matter what you do. Prep. Get it all on paper. Storyboard it, write it down, find people to help you. Because once you walk away and you go to that edit booth and you don't have a piece that you really, really needed, or it didn't work out the way you liked, or the person stumbled, you can't go back unless you know them, or you can find the time to get people back together and reshoot it. So be really really nuanced with the details and what you want to get out of something. And just pay attention, watch, learn, listen. If you're shooting something with like your music video, Jessica, because I think you're a musician, correct? Their comfortability. What questions you can ask and they're going to be, yeah. You also know, you could probably ask them, hey, are you okay if I ask you this question on camera? So, pay attention to those things. Make sure your subject is also really, really comfortable with the questions you're going to ask. Sometimes, and I have done this myself, especially with politicians interviewing, I will throw out questions, and I love doing that to them. That's the only time I would say to knock them off their feet. And throw questions out. But if it's something that is really passionate and you're talking to somebody who's really passionate about this, make sure they're comfortable with the questions that you're asking, because you don't want to get them caught off guard. You don't want them to shut down. You don't want them to have that moment of, oh, and suddenly the rapport you had and what you were talking about is gone. So just kind of, pay attention to them, like what the space is around, what the energy, if you can, and just make people really comfortable, and they'll tell you anything you want to know. You'll be able to get the answers from. Work as a team. Again, on a big film set, one section falls, one department falls, we all fall. We all rise together, we all fall together. So anybody who is looking to eventually make a move to mainstream TV film, when you first get there and you first get on a film set, you will see people running around like they are running around. And half the time, if you have never been on one before, you're like, what is happening? There's chaotic madness, but it is a controlled chaotic madness. Every department knows exactly what they're there doing. They know their lighting, they know their camera, they know they're the AD department, they're the locations department, hair, makeup, wardrobe, actors. Everybody has a specific role to play within their department. None of us do the same job. Everybody's different. So if you go that route and you want to pursue that route, just go in at a PA level. We can talk about that later if we have time. And just watch and learn and find out where you want to go. If you're a camera operator, you might get there and say, oh, I really like the set deck department. Or you might be a set decorator, or you could be, say you like accounting or you like the production office, but then you go to set a few times and you're like, oh man, I really want to be a props master. You'll find different avenues that might interest you more than what you're doing. Like I say, I'm an assistant director because that's kind of what I'm built for. I know that sounds really weird, but my experiences and just my DNA is built to be an assistant director. I'm not a director. People often ask me, why would you ever want to be a director in film and television? I say absolutely not. And the reason for that is, for all of you who edit your own projects, I cannot see the edit. My brain does not work that way. So I can see it in one big frame, from start to finish. I can go into the edit room, I'll sit there for 10 minutes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go. I hate it here, it's boring, the machines, the gadgets, the sound, I have no desire for it. Which is really, really not good if you want to be a film TV director. Documentary, a little bit different. Journalism, a little bit different. Short film, a little bit different. For me, I can manage that. It's still, again, not something I really enjoy, but I find that I have somebody who's a really great editor who surrounds me. So just, kind of that kind of thought too. Find what you want to do. Find what you're passionate at, and then have people around you to help you get there. If you don't know things, again, on a big set or anywhere, even if you're helping out and you're a mentor, or you're in school, you don't know something, ask. Don't assume you know the answer, because you probably don't. If you don't understand the equipment, ask the question. If you don't understand the equipment, you have a camera operator and a stills photographer right here. You have an editor back there, so you have another filmmaker back there. If you want to learn, find those people, network with those people. If you're on a film set, ask the questions. Find someone that you trust, someone you're comfortable with, and ask a million questions. Those of us who've been there a long time, we want to give you the answer. We want to see you succeed. We want to make sure that you're getting all the information, you're getting all the support that you need to continue on, because a lot of us are coming to the end of our careers. So our job is to make sure that upcoming filmmakers have everything they need, all the tools they need. So never be afraid to reach out and ask. Same with, Lynn, if she ever needs anything, reach out, ask. I'll give you the best answer I got, or I can find the answer for you. Women in film right now, again, we kind of talked about 30 years ago, we were non-existent. We're getting better. We're certainly not where we want to be or where we should be. It is still a male-dominated field, but we're making inroads, and we just have to work harder. And I think somebody said that earlier today. We have to work harder, and that is just a reality. And I hate to say it, and I hate to say that doesn't happen anymore, but that is the reality. You have to stand up strong. You have to be confident. You have to use your voice. One of the things I put on here is, how you dress, right? So if you're a filmmaker and you're going to do a documentary and you want to interview somebody, go in like you look like a professional. Dress like you're a professional. Don't go in just like you look like a surfer. I know it's a really weird thing to say, but it is really, really important. People, I don't know what it is in the film world in certain areas, but they look at how you dress. For example, I didn't get a job on a show once because I had really long hair, and I had it on the top of my head like Medusa. And they didn't give me the job because of my hair. And that person ended up being, a couple years later, a mentor of mine who I still am very dear friends with. And I said, why didn't you give me that job? Like, what was the problem? I was still learning, but I had a good resume. It was your hair. And I'm like, what? It was your hair was all over the top of your head. It was messy. It was shooting out in every direction. That gave me a sense that, you have no focus. It's like, oh my gosh. So I know it's a really silly thing, but when you're looking for money, when you're looking for funding, when you're looking to interview people, when you're looking to, maybe talk to government officials, or, wanting to use space or locations or things like that, be very aware of how you are dressed, how you look. Approach it professionally, because it will go a really long way. I know that may seem kind of silly, but in my experience, it always makes a huge difference. If you're going to go work somewhere, if you're on a main film set, dress like you're going to work. One of the big things for women in film, which we now have put in big clauses as far as how everybody has to dress, especially, again, most of my experience is coming from mainstream film and TV. There used to be no dress code. So unfortunately for us, some of us would come to work with shirts to here, shorts to here, shorts to here. That's fine in your outside world. And, someone who teaches a bullying program, I should be allowed to dress like that in my outside life, in my life wherever I am. But in a work setting, it became very difficult in a work setting full of mostly men. You're putting yourself out there to take hits almost every single day, and it still happens today. So, be professional, dress accordingly. And I'm sorry, I know, I see you two look at each other, but that is the reality. As much as I would love to not to be, and that you could come to work however you wanted, just come as a professional. Come professionally ready to work. Proper footwear, the whole kit and caboodle. Same with men. We no longer allow them to wear, really bad swear word t-shirts. They don't get to come in muscle shirts anymore. They don't get to wear, shirts with, derogatory statements about women or any other minority group. That is no longer allowed. So that is something, that's really good in that respect. So yeah, and when you start going, again, I think I kind of talked about this, find what you're passionate about. Find what you want to do. If you want to be a director, direct. If you want to be a writer, write. If you want to be a director of photography, be a director of photography. You can do all the other things that come along with it when you're doing smaller projects, producer, grant writer, da-da-da-da-da. But if you want to direct, put your main focus on directing. Find someone that is really passionate about maybe, if you have someone who is an assistant director, not that I'm looking for a job, but I'm just saying that can do like a couple different roles. They can help you schedule. They can help make phone calls. They can help run the set and make sure you're going on time. Because when you spend all of your energy doing the things that you don't really want to do, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of money. And those are all things when we're starting out and doing smaller projects we don't have. So try to, as you go, as you're doing and starting on your journey, eventually try to pick a spot that's really, really your passion. You might have a couple, and that's great. But if you're not a writer, don't try to write. You know what I mean? Like, you can try to write. It's kind of like the singer. Anybody can do it. You need practice, 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 practice. But if you don't have the time to practice, 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 then find someone, network with someone who's a writer. Network with someone who is a director of photography. Network with someone who's my favorite. That's an editor. Because I hate editing, but it's one of the most important things to make sure that your project gets done well. I think, just find like-minded people, find like-minded people to help you. What's the next one? Overcoming stereotypes and biases. We've talked about this. We still have our challenges. So as women, as Indigenous, as, minorities, it's still a fight. It's still a struggle, but there are a lot of avenues to go where you can tell your stories. A lot of places for us to go now and have all the support we need, have the mentorship that we need, tell our stories, people to be supportive of us. And a lot of that is independent from the mainstream film and television making. I'm going to be honest. We have support, but until you get to a point where, you're a director or you're a producer or you're someone in a higher field, we still have to learn, because it's hard to get there, but don't stop trying to get there, because when you get there, it's going to be great. I promise. I wish I had a better answer for that one, but I do not. So if you are doing projects, again, prep, especially for us. Be strong, be confident, know what you're putting out there. What do you want to get back, so that when you go to talk to somebody, when you go to ask for funding, you are solid. You are solid in your voice. You're solid in your speech to ask for it. So when somebody starts saying to you, yeah, but why? But that doesn't make any sense to me. But you're going to be able to prep. You know exactly what you want to do. You know exactly what you need. You know exactly what you want it to look like. You know what you want it to feel like. You're going to be able to answer those questions. You're going to be able to say, well, no, this is, well, this is what I'm trying to do, but I understand where you're coming from. So you know what, I'll take that and I'll go back and I'll look at it. Doesn't mean you're going to change what you want to do, but you have to find ways, especially when you're asking for money, to have a little go back and forth. So don't get mad at people. Don't say, well, you don't understand what I'm trying to do here, because we can all get frustrated because you're going to hear a lot of no's as you continue in this business and you ask for money and you're trying to get things. There'll be a lot of no's before there are a lot of yeses. So again, just perseverance. Be confident, even if you're not, even if you're like freaking out inside, you're like, oh my God, this is don't let people see that. And I know it's a horrible thing to say, and I don't like to say it, but the unfortunate truth is we have to have thick skins. That is just the way it is. Any class I teach, they tell me not to say that when I teach a bullying course, but the reality is that is the reality. So why don't we just make sure that everybody knows that? You have to have tough skin, because as a woman, especially in this business, you are going to get a lot of flack, a lot of feedback, especially if you are not surrounded by a supportive group of people who are willing to work with you and do this project with you. So just say, yeah, okay, fantastic. All right, that's great. I'll take that under advisement. All right, excellent. Thank you. Well, hopefully we get to meet again. And then you can walk off and you can go into the bathroom and you can sit and have a moment and then continue on. Okay? I know I probably should swear because I'm on camera, right? But it's a really shitty thing to have to do that still. And that is, it just happens. I wish I could change it. I wish I could give you some advice to make it different. It doesn't happen in every scenario by any stretch of the imagination, but it still happens. So just stand tall, be proud, puff out your chest if you have to a little bit, and yeah, okay, yeah. And when somebody's telling you no, look them in the eye and say, okay, yeah, great, that's fantastic, thank you. Okay, well, I hope we meet again one day. Don't look away, don't wander off, stay with them, okay? Because you might meet that person again another time. You might meet that person another time when you have now climbed the ladder and that person is coming to you. So try to always remember, whatever you're doing, whatever you're asking for, anything you're trying to accomplish, be kind, show respect, because that person might be someone that's going to jump over top of you and you need their help, or vice versa. So always just try to be really respectful. Sometimes it's hard, but we can do it. Anything that you're doing, tell your story. What's your story? What is it that you want to tell? What is it that you want the audience to know? What emotion are you trying to get? You can make it really simple, but if you have done your prep and you have a story and you have a great story and you have a great subject and you want to really engage with that, do that. What do I want to get? What do I want the audience to walk away from? Do I want them to be sad? Do I want them to be happy? Do I want them to walk out going, holy shit, wow, I had no idea. That is the whole goal of being a storyteller, is this. How did you affect the audience's heart? How did you draw them in? How did you get there? And if you don't prep that story and you don't prep that, they're going to walk away going, oh, well, geez, I don't really get it. So make sure you have a clear vision. Really, really important to tell a story. I'll just be really quick. Has anybody seen Shawshank Redemption or The King's Speech? Two big films, massive films. If you had to tell me something the same about both of them, what would it be? Anybody? Great story. Great acting. The story got you into both, like you were sitting in the prison cell with them, like you were with the king when he couldn't get it out. That is a great story. That's great acting. You didn't need blow-ups. You didn't need CGI. You didn't need all the other crazy stuff behind you. Those two films, if you've never seen them, I say watch them. They told you a story that hit you here. I don't care whether you liked it or not, but at some point in either one of those films, they would have got you, and that's the whole point. Okay, so when you're going out there and you're making shows and you're doing documentaries, remember that it's the story. You want to tell a great story. You want people to be able to react. That's the whole point, because as we go along, With all the technology, with AI, which is a big problem in the film industry right now, people still need to connect. We still want to connect. We still want to talk to each other. We still want to feel something. I don't want to end up watching AI films because it's going to be horrible. Because you don't have that connection. You don't have that moment of, you don't have that moment of, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. So I think people, whatever genre of art you're in, whether that's music, whether that's, being an artist, film, television, documentary filmmaking, journalism, it's all about telling the story. It's all about us. It's all about the audience and what you want them to feel and what you want them to take away. If you want to, practice your craft and you want to do things, like I have said to Lynn, get the people that are networking with you. Get one of your people who's a writer, write a scene, write a couple scene, write a dinner party. Go to your house, bring someone in your friend group that loves to be a set decorator, have them do it, read the scenes, fix the house up how you like. Bring, direct photography. Bring your friends who want to be actors maybe, or, go to your theater group. There's, you have great productions that put on here. You have a great theater group here. You have the Mountain Sentinel Drama Club, or drama program, which is fantastic. Go there, pull some of those students from there that want to be actors and just do it. Just shoot, just do it, and go to the editing suite and go, oh, that didn't work out. And then phone them again and, do another project. Just get out there and do it. Shoot. A couple other quick things if we go. Anyway, if you're looking for grants, a couple really great places to go. Columbia Basin Trust, you're all part of the Columbia Basin Trust program for the Arts and Culture program. Story Hive. Story Hive is a great place for Indigenous, for BIPOC community, LGBTQ community. Really great place to go and look at putting and getting in there. You'll have mentorship, you'll have professional crew. What else did I put on there? The National Film Board, Story Hive, all your local BC Arts Councils, your local and your main BC Arts Council. Grants, send out grants, get everything you can. The Columbia Basin Trust, we talked about, take online courses. If you want to be a camera operator, take camera courses, or find someone to mentor you in camera courses. If you want to be a director, take those courses so you have a bit of an understanding of what it means, what lens you're looking at, what you're going to shoot. Have some kind of knowledge, but surround yourself with a really good DOP. Again, networking, mentorship programs, anything like that you can help to put you on your way and find people to ask questions to. Make sure you do that. There's a lot of networking, a lot of programs, a lot of places you can go for women and minority groups now, that there's so much that we can pull from, and places we can go to find people who will fund us and work with us and mentor us and let us have our voice. Okay. And again, if any aspiring directors out there, women in the director's chair, I was in that program for many years as the first AD. It is a really great place to go if you're a writer, if you want to be a director. Another really great avenue to look at, Creative BC. Other than that, thank you for letting me share, and I'm going to stop now because I always go on and on. Thank you, Lynn.